A very, very beautiful is actually an understatement. I might as well use the word beautiful, ever young, ever green, a woman of substance, a woman whose story is actually going to move you today. By the way, I'm NYA, the brand. It's not about me at all. I'm getting inspired already. Now, she was diagnosed with breast cancer 16 years ago. And after surviving and undergoing several treatments, she has redefined innovation and ambition to raise the bar as a self-made, successful businesswoman. And this has actually changed the narrative as far as survival is concerned. And so today in the studio, we'll be looking at how you and I can create a robust support system for breast cancer. Of course, for the past few weeks within the month of October, we've been looking at breast cancer, the symptoms, Monday and Friday, lifestyle changes we could make to avert being at risk of breast cancer. And today, as they say, we're going to hear from the horse's own mouth. And I'm talking about Mrs. Juliet Mills-Lutrot. She's the founder of Pink for Africa. And above all, she's actually a breast cancer survivor. She's a mother, she's a wife, she's the director of her group of companies. Mama Juliet, can I call you Mama Juliet? You are welcome to the studios of Z Multimedia.
It is such a pleasure to be here, my dear. You are looking lovely in pink.
Yes, I wore the pink to celebrate what you're celebrating because I'm so proud of what you're doing. And I feel it's just my little way of supporting what you're doing and what we are all trying to do for Ghana and Africa. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I had a wonderful night's sleep. I had some guests who visited for a while and it was great. It was a great
and you've been up and about since you came to Ghana because of breast cancer awareness. And I'm told you do that every single year, every single October.
I do.
From where?
So every October, I fly in from the U.S. and dedicate my month. I shut my businesses down. I hold everything still. And I come and I pour into my sisters, my mothers, my aunties, my brothers, everybody.
Did you just say you shut down your businesses?
I do, because I am the ship that moves. I'm the sailor that moves the ship. So I need to put everything on kind of a simmer in order to be able to come and do this in Ghana.
You must be very passionate about what you do, breast cancer awareness.
Absolutely. To whom much is given, much is required. So I have been given life and I need to push it forward.
So, you see what I was saying. So I'm speaking to Mrs. Juliet Mills-Lutrot. She is a breast cancer survivor, and so she's pushing the agenda for prevention and maybe management of breast cancer should, God forbid, imperil, but should anyone get that. And she's sitting right in front of me looking also young, and she's got to tell us how it happened, what she did to look so fine, and how she's moving on. Now, what made you have your breast checked?
So in the US, when you turn 40, your insurance company is part of your routine check. So I went in for a routine mammogram. Just like we encourage the women once a year, go get checked. There's a lot of free screening going on in October. So take advantage of it. And I happened to go and check, and I got called back to look at further images because certain parts of my breast wasn't clear. And then so I called back to do an ultrasound, and they asked me to do an MRI. They said the left breast had passed, but the right breast needed an MRI. So they did the MRI. I went in for the MRI. The technician made a mistake and did MRI the left breast. And the tumor was found in the left breast. That had already passed.
The mistake was what made them detect.
Yes. So my tumors were caught so early that the human hand couldn't feel it yet. But the MRI was more accurate in finding the tumor.
So what you're saying is that but for the mistake the technician made,
absolutely,
they would have just been there saying you were fine,
yes,
and it would have advanced to a certain age.
Yes, if we didn't catch it in time. Because usually when you turn 40, you get your mammography once a year. So it would have taken a whole year for it to keep brewing and growing, and
boom,
God knows where I would have been today.
Well, so this also goes to explain that God has a purpose for everything, you know?
Absolutely. Is why I can look back and confidently say this was the best thing that ever happened to me.
You
That
need
breast
to
cancer was the
explain
best
that.
thing.
I will remember to ask you because you've said it on so many platforms. How can breast cancer? We'll talk about that.
Okay.
But now, so when you were diagnosed with it,
yes.
it was on its smallest, how do they say it technically?
Early.
very early
It
stages.
was at a very early stage. But because they had issues with the right breast, I needed to make sure that I was clear. So I went in and had them also look at the right breast. So I ended up doing 3 biopsies, 2 in the right breast and 1 in the left. The one in the left had to be done by the MRI. So there is a procedure done by the MRI. It's called the guided biopsy. So it's an MRI guided biopsy. So you lay in the machine and the machine comes with a needle and it goes into your breast and it pulls the sample tissue and then they test it. So the left breast came up cancerous.
So take us back to a mental picture of when they said, Madam, this is the situation. What was it like?
You know, it was on the 14th of February.
That is Valentine's Day.
Yes. I
Wow.
got called in to come and speak to the doctor, and I went in, and I don't remember how I drove home. I remember not quite, remembering that. I remember a few days after talking to my husband about it because he was away on a business trip, and when he got back, I don't even remember. I may have even spoken to him before he even got back.
What was your state of mind? Because
I
you don't
was-
even remember how you got
Charlie,
home.
When you hear the C word, I don't care who you are. It's going to shake you.
You saw death.
I have 3 sons, and my youngest son was 9 at the time. And it
Oh.
was, I'm glad my husband is here. Maybe you can poke his
He
brain
is
a
here.
little bit.
And
Yes,
he
he's
is going to
with you.
actually sit here because we're going to talk to him as well.
That's
If
fantastic.
he doesn't mind, Sir Lutro.
I figured, let me bring
Please
him in
let him
so that
let him sit here because
I can
today,
give you-
yes, thank you so much, sir.
You know.
You're joining us in the
it would be great to
conversation.
hear from the male perspective how
Mhm.
he felt as well.
That's
when
right.
I was told when he heard the news.
Thank you.
But I don't care who you are.
Mm.
We had a young family. We had dreams and aspirations for our family. We had excited about what our future was going to be, and then all of a sudden you're hit with this horrific news.
Let me quickly, before I come back to you,
Yes.
Mr. Lutrot, I believe.
Mr. Mills Luttrell.
Mr. Mills Lutrot, yes. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak with us, although it wasn't in the plan. Okay, please get closer to the microphone. Yes. So when she first broke the news to you, how was the feeling?
I think when you receive news like that and you are so-called head of household, you're the husband, you're the support system, you get into this mode of how do we move forward? There shouldn't be any panic. What is the best course of action? We live in a country that provides wonderful treatment options. Let's move forward and get to that. We can panic later.
So what you're saying is you didn't panic.
No.
Is it that you wanted to be strong for her?
That's the idea, yes.
But there was an iota of panic in there somewhere.
The iota of panic is simply the C word killing a lot of people. A few years earlier, I had lost a friend to pancreatic cancer. Out of the blue, it hit him, and within months, he was gone. So this time, and hitting close to home, your wife telling you she may have breast cancer. We don't know what stage it's at. We don't know how critical it's going to get. We don't know if the treatment's going to work or not. Luckily, it worked, and 16 years later, here we are.
Absolutely. And God has been amazing. And
Yes.
your children, did you play a role in trying to get your children to get abreast of the situation and its aftermath?
Yeah, it's interesting because we are very close to our kids. The boys were, I wouldn't say understanding, but they picked up on the stress of what was going on. They understood peripherally what was happening. Mom is not as well as she is. She stopped working. She used to run multiple hair salons. She pulled back. She had to stay home for treatment. There were days I would take her, the whole day for her radiation and other therapy treatments. So I'd be out of the house for a while. We had the older one watching them. And when her hair started falling out, I think that's when it really hit them.
Their hair started falling. It
Yes.
got to that point.
Yes, because mom has beautiful hair, and all of a sudden the treatment is making her hair fall out. And we were talking about it one evening. Then I heard the hair clippers go off in the bathroom. Our older one was shaving his head.
In support.
Yes. So the two younger ones too said, you know what? Let's go. Let's shave it off too.
Whoa. I gotta play some music. Well, I was actually speaking with Mrs. Juliet Mills Lutrot about her situation, how she felt when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And her husband happened to have a company that even shows the family system already, the support. Now, you don't even have to tell me how supportive he was, because he walked into the studio with you, and he's also on your trips trying to create awareness of breast cancer. And here we have, we've heard from the horse's own mouth, how it really felt. The family system has been very supportive. Auntie Juliet,
Yes, my dear.
now you were the one at the center of, while Mr. Mills Lutrot was being strong for you, you were the one seeing the hair fall out.
Yeah.
You were the one trying to let your children not pity you and all of that.
Right.
How did you manage?
You know, it's almost like a double-edged sword for me, because I was a hairstylist at the time and at the peak of my career. And I had seen so many women come through who had issues with their hair thinning, hair falling out. And here I was with this luscious, due to my genetic make, I'm half Lebanese, half Ghanaian. I have gorgeous hair. And you understand, but I truly understood and respected the space in which women stand when they begin to lose that beauty, which validates that beauty for them. So, you know, during chemo, you lose everything. You don't just lose your hair. You lose your hair, your eyebrows, you lose your lashes, you lose every hair on your body is gone. So you look sick. And I think, you know, George was right. It was when the kids really, it hit them that mom is going through something.
So even at the early stages, it was the chemo that actually caused that.
Yes, because when I was diagnosed, even though at early stages, I seeked a second opinion. And my second opinion doctor was a female doctor. And she said, if you were my sister, I would tell you to remove the breast. And I will also encourage you to do chemo.
How did that feel? Encourage you to remove the breast?
That was not even an issue.
Okay.
You know, in the Bible, it says, if your foot hurts, cut it off, because you don't want it to kill you. So if this cancer was something that could grow, the potential of it growing, going into parts of my body that I couldn't control, I needed to be sure that it was removed and removed quickly. So we made an appointment and went into surgery. Luckily for me, because I was diagnosed in the US, I also went through early stages of reconstructive surgery.
Okay.
So as they remove, they insert expanders in to expand the skin, and you go through that process. And then after that, chemo starts immediately. And, you know, it was rough. Chemo was tough. 16 years ago, chemo is not what it is today. Chemo has improved so much. Women today in America will go get their chemo treatment and go to work.
And the chemo treatment, now, does not affect the hair and all of that? It still
some
does.
of them. It depends on what level of tumors you have, how much is spread, you know, if it's stage 1, stage 2, different concussions are for different. And then what type of breast cancer too. There are different types of breast cancer. So all of that determines what type of chemo you get.
Okay, so so it means that you went through a number of treatments, not just chemo. Were there other treatments?
I went through 6 months of chemo. That's the only thing I did, because I opted to removing the breast.
Otherwise,
So I didn't have to do radiotherapy. I didn't have to do radiation. I did only chemo.
only chemo.
Yes.
Now, so let's talk about the removal of the
Okay.
breast. Did you have to go through any psychological encounters with a professional and all of that?
You know, I remember discussing it with my husband, and, you know, his goal was, this is something we don't want in your body. So if it requires removing the breast, just remove the breast.
Mr. Mills Lutrot,
Yes, ma'am.
it was that simple.
Yes, it was. Yes. The first time I set my eyes on her, I don't think I noticed her breasts.
Whoa. Let me play music. All right. I want to digest that, Mr. Mills Luttrell, just on the lighter side. Tell me about that.
Yeah, the first time I saw her, I said, "Who is that?" I just thought she was beautiful.
Oh my God.
So I don't think I noticed her breasts. I think the breasts were just extra. So if something occurred where she had to remove it for her health and for me to have her in my life for a longer time, let's go.
No, this is so touching, and this is the highest level of support that I can think about. And that means, Mr. Mills Luttrell, that all these are the things that we think about as, no, front, correct, no, back, correct, everything correct, all of that. Well, is necessary. DJ Wade, where are you going? Yeah, no, it's not correct. All of those are correct. Yes, true. However, that is not the ultimate.
Yeah, I think the essence of the person does matter. All the other things are very supportive. Like I said, it didn't take away from what she looked like. Not to me, no. Other people may not have that mindset, no. I've heard of people saying, if she takes it off now, she's half a woman. That never came into cross my mind, no.
Wow. The love is deep and the understanding is also deep. And so where did your strength come from? Because I'm deducing that one, family system and all of that. But you look to me like an extremely strong woman.
You know, I think that strength is something that when you are spiritually grounded and your faith is solid, you pull from that. It's one of the areas I leaned on as much as I can. I knew that God has got me. And from there, and seeing my family support and seeing, my brothers and sisters support, my husband, my children, that circle was very important. And then my friends poured in on top of that.
Oh, you had friends coming over?
Absolutely. Friends poured in, friends who were my die or ride friends who I've known forever all poured in, and everybody played a role in trying to get me back. But in life, it's never what happens to you, it's how you get through it. Things will come and go, different things, obstacles will come. You have to ride it out and set that example for the children to see that you are okay.
Did you at any point, because when friends come, they go. When they visit you, they go. Your husband, yes, he'll be there. Now he is there with you, your children and everything. Was there at any point in time where you woke up in the morning with that depression?
Absolutely.
Vulnerability.
I woke up a few times with that depression. I remember one of my sister-in-laws, Valerie, had gone through her breast cancer already, and I remember leaning on her, and she said something to me that stayed with me for the longest time. She said, "Jules, everybody will disappoint you, not because they intend to, but because they're human beings. So your husband may disappoint you, your children, your doctors, but remember, the one place you can stand on is God. And when you are in doubt and you are feeling down and you are feeling shaken, that is the one place you should go and stand, and you'll be okay." And that was really an awesome thing. So when I felt those moments, I literally will open my front door, scream very loud and say, "You have to go. You don't belong in this house." And I will bang the door, bam. And then I'll feel absolutely fantastic after that.
And at the point where you did that, you literally felt it was gone? What were you, as it were, you were casting it?
Control.
Okay.
I literally felt I was casting whatever feeling that made me feel down and low and sad and why me and why not me? What makes me different from any other human being in the world? Nothing makes me different. We are all equally the same. So if we are all equally the same and people are getting cancer, what makes me unique and different? No, you're a human being.
I'm going to talk about why you've been saying that was the best thing that happened to you. We'll talk about that. But now you have your breast removed.
Right.
Was there anything like stigma of a sort,
In the U.S., no, because it's been long removed. The days of a woman hiding her breast cancer in the U.S. There's so many support systems, which I didn't even have to tap into because of the support I had from my family. But I really didn't know what to feel till I started to heal, and I realized, oh, okay, it's not going to look the same there's going to be a bump there. They have to create a nipple. It's a process I have to go through to recreate that breast. And ironically, it's been 16 years and it's still not over. I've had to remove it after 10 years and replace it. And then 9 months after the 10 years when I removed it, they said there was a recall on the implants. I had to go back and do surgery again. And then this March, I needed to go in because I had a rupture. I had a tear in the tissue that they had put in. So I had to go and reconstruct again.
That means that there is aftercare,
there
then there is aftercare.
Right, right.
So it's not just what you go through so you'll be okay and go home, but for the rest of the years, you have to make sure you are okay.
Absolutely, because there are other diseases that also could trickle in. So you have to really make a conscious effort that if you've ever had cancer or if you've had the opportunity to build a stronger immune system, you should do that so that if anything comes your way and shakes you, it cannot shake you completely.
Why do you think you survived?
Why do I think I survived?
Mm-hmm.
I think that I had a wonderful hospital and care. That was one. And two, my spirit was not going to negotiate anything else. I had conversations with God. I literally said, listen, we have to talk. These 3 kids have to be raised to be men. And you chose me to do this.
That was you talking to God?
Yes. So you have to let me complete the job you've given me. And there's no... And I want to grow old with this amazing man sitting to my right.
Let me clap for that. Let me clap for that. I am so enthused about family support. It is the best thing that happened to some of us, and so we don't joke with that at all. You seem to be not religious but spiritual.
Absolutely.
Would you like to tell us about that?
Yes, I come from a family that believed in the Almighty God and believed that He created you in His image. And therefore you pray to Him, you fellowship with others, but you don't pray to man, you pray to God.
You don't pray to man.
You don't pray to man, you pray to God. So having that direct plug and that direct relationship with Him is something that both my husband and I hold very dearly, and we ground our children in as well.
I know you pushed your business aside while going through the chemo and all of that. So does it mean you were just waking up in the morning, sitting at home, going to hospital? Because knowing you, that's going to kill you.
No. I was actually quite busy. On my way to the hospital, I'll swing by the salons and check on them, make sure they were okay. I had an amazing staff when I was diagnosed who held the fort for 1.5 years, almost 2 years. And really kept my businesses going. I think that is so important to treat people right, because you never know what's around the corner.
You are going to say that again, because you see, my next question was, what is the magic wand you're using? Because one, your husband is supportive. You've got even friends who didn't turn their backs on you. You have a good, perhaps, church supportive system. You had people, and now your salon staff were also supportive. What were you using?
I mean, I think that generally, you know, if you are truthful to who you are honest, and you're kind. I've always been a very kind person and a compassionate person, and I think treating people right is key. You know, like I said, when you walk into my salon, you're going to see me mopping the floor. You're going to see me sweeping. You're going to see me do everything. So if I'm the boss and I'm doing everything, I expect you to do it as well. So, you know, if I go to the bathroom and it's dirty, I'm cleaning the whole bathroom to make sure it's clean, not just for me, but for my staff as well as my clients. So, you know, my staff already were very cool with me. We had a great relationship. And they were all equally devastated as my family was when this happened. And it was important because as a hairstylist, you're around women. So it was important for everybody to see my journey and for me to share it with them so that they can also take better care of themselves.
We'll talk about the campaigns you've been doing, especially in Ghana and in Africa. I'm trying to control my emotions, but I'm also picking your strength energy. I can literally feel it, okay? I want to believe that your strength was quite contagious and it affected even your salon staff, okay? You said breast cancer was the best thing that happened to you. I say, God forbid, but you might have an explanation to that.
I do. Think about it. I'm here talking to you.
Amazing.
Exactly. And look at what Pink for Africa has been able to do in the last 14 years.
Which
I
we
mean,
will
let's
talk
be
about as
realistic.
well. We'll talk about.
Based on my little diagnosis, I've been able to see outside of myself and touch more people. I've been able to point to others and counsel others. I've been able to convince women to get their surgery done or their treatment done because they were afraid. And I said, I went through it. I'm okay. You're going to be okay. So how is it not the best thing? I live life to the fullest. I think my husband and I have traveled more than we ever did. And when I want to do something, I don't wait and pause and think about it. I just do it.
Mr. Mills Lutrot,
Yes, ma'am.
she just mentioned your name right now. So all the tours she's doing, you've been doing that.
I usually show up like the last 2 weeks of her October Breast Awareness Month and tag along and give all the undivided support I can do. I always believe that you need to do more for others than you do for yourself. And she's the embodiment of that. So when you ask about the magic wand, that's it. You know, do more for others than you do for yourself.
How fulfilled do you feel when you... I know that breast cancer is not just for women because in my research I found out that men also do that. Is there an element of that when, before we come to the likely causes, is there an element of that when you tag along?
Not personally. You know, I don't engage in all this thinking, oh, you know, I might get it one day, so let me support now so I'll get the support later. No, I think it's more of edifying what she does. This is serious stuff. You know, this is when we need serious people to engage in what's going on. And I'm just happy to be along, to be even considered a support person. You know, it's nothing to do with, oh, wow, you know, I may get it, therefore let me see what I can do. No, nothing like that.
Auntie Juliet, so now we want to look at I know you are not a health expert, but with what you've been through, I'm sure you are likely to be able to tell us some of the possible causes, apart from the inevitable genetics and the fact that I'm a woman. Okay, quote unquote, I go through the monthly, someone say monthly this thing, and so I am definitely at risk. Apart from these two and maybe no more natural ones, what are the causes?
Well, honestly, to date, there is no conclusive causes. It's not like you can stop eating something and it's not going to happen to you.
That even makes it scary.
There really isn't. For cancer in general, I mean, but it is important, like I said earlier, to build a stronger immune. That way, if anything happens to you, you are healthy. What is a strong immune? A strong immune is eating well, exercising, balancing your diet with your vegetables, you know, your low carbohydrate meals. Anything that is white on your plate turns to sugar. Cancer loves sugar. So you want to be conscious of sugar, your intake of sugar. What is sugar? Sugar is not only the white sugar we eat. It's in your Coca-Colas, it's in your soft drinks, it's in your juices, it's in anything that can turn to sugar in terms of your carbohydrates. You want to reduce. So, you know, one of the ingredients that internationally cancer does not like is aluguntugui. So we want to be very conscious of the leaves. We want to boil the leaves as tea and drink.
Okay,
we want to
hold on,
eat
please.
the fruit.
Aluguntugui as in a sweet apple.
Sour sap.
Sour sap.
Yes, sour sap.
It fights against general cancer.
It's internationally known. It's one of the most expensive fruit to buy anywhere else. So it is one of the things you need to incorporate in your diet as part of your fruits that you eat that helps you. But across the board, you have Ghana has some of the most amazing fruits, honestly. I've been eating dragon fruits when I got here. I've been eating pomegranate. I've been eating, you know, even though mango is off season, there's a little bit you can get. But there is so many different fruits out there. Up your bananas, you know, like anything that is from the earth is good. But anything that is white, you want to pull back a little bit.
So when you say the white, literally, our white rice.
Yes.
Our white flour. And so on and so forth.
Yes.
What are we going to eat?
I'm not saying take it out of your diet.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. I'm saying that reduce that amount. For example, if you ate cocoa in the morning, you ate jollof in the afternoon, and you're eating fufu at night, my sister. You
Yeah,
know?
Jerry did, yeah.
Let's make sure that along with that cocoa you ate in the morning, you also had some fruit, or you may be juiced with some greens. Then in the afternoon, you ate some kontomire foe with your apim.
Okay.
Then in the evening, you ate your fufu, and your fufu was more bodier than
the
than
banchi.
bayere. Bayere is even tougher on us because bayere is white and is heavier. So banche, somehow your body breaks it down a little bit better. So again, if you're eating 2 big fufu, reduce it to 1. Make sure that in your soup there is more okro, there is more garden eggs,
Yes.
there is all the vegetables that you can add that will fill you up, your mushrooms, all of that are in there, and you still have your soup and you still enjoy it. So we're not moving away completely. If you did your banku, reduce that size, up your vegetables in your banku, your gomas, your okro, don't overcook it. Make sure that there's a crunch to the okro when you eat. So all of that is also good for you. So up those things.
So someone will say they will up those things so that they can boost their immune system and then continue eating. You know, in this Ghana now without banku, who are we?
I didn't say don't eat banku. Me, I love banku.
Yes,
I didn't say don't eat banku at
Right,
all.
but then
I'm just saying
the
that
quantity,
let's
yes.
the portions, let's make sure that I was even telling a friend, I said, you know, in the States when I make okra soup, I put carrots in it. Because when you're eating it, the okra takes so much, it possesses the food in a way that the food is good. So when you're munching on the carrot, it's tasting like meat to you. But it's chunks of carrots and it's good. And I do a lot of mushroom. I do a lot of the green leaves in there. And then
Kontomire.
garden eggs also is in there. So again, there is so much that you
Auntie
can
Juliet,
do.
sometimes, yes, we'll come to the other likely causes, the external causes as well, apart from diet. But sometimes, you know, typically we say that things are quite expensive in this country. And so while I have a couple of ladies, sometimes I say, hey, but this thing you are eating they will tell you the good ones. For instance, avocado, which is equally good, is 20 cedis to 30 cedis for one. Okay, so if you're going to eat avocados, for somebody whose cholesterol has gone up, they say eat avocados to give you good cholesterol.
Right.
And then you're going to buy 5 of them for 5 days for 100 Ghana cedis.
That's a lot.
How would you convince us in Ghana? Because the things that are good for us are more expensive than the things that are not good for us.
Let's address that. I think that's a fantastic thing to say.
Yeah.
So as human beings, right, we wear more than we eat. What we put outside of our bodies cost more than what we eat.
Yes.
So you have the average woman in Ghana who will buy a piece of cloth and make an outfit quicker than they will put something more nutritious in their body.
Okay.
So you need to make a conscious choice. And we all have backyards. Plant an avocado tree, plant a pawpaw tree. It may take a year to come. In that year, save up, make sure that you cut back on certain things and make better choices about the clothes you wear. That only makes you look good but doesn't make you feel good.
Yes.
So build your inside better and balance your life out.
Now let's talk about other likely causes apart from food.
So food being the biggest one, water is one. And when I talk of water and I think of Ghana and what is happening, what is happening with Galamsey and all this horrible, I mean, when you look around Accra, sometimes Accra is not even the cleanest place. So when we first got the world, think about it, God gave us clean water. All of our rivers, our oceans were all clean. We had clean air. We as a people have polluted the entire world. And then when we get sick from eating the fish in the ocean, because we throw plastic in the ocean, when we get sick from all the different things we do, then we blame the devil.
Danny baby Danny baby.
We need to take responsibility. We need to stop and take responsibility. You know, when you see somebody's burning bola, stop them. You don't burn that. You are creating a toxic environment for people to breathe. You don't do that. Take it, let it be picked up and processed out. So there are certain things, our sachet water plastics, we throw it everywhere. It ends up in our gutters. It creates all kinds of, we don't realize how we're living in an environment that we create. So we truly need to fall on each other to just hold each other accountable and make better choices. That's all.
And as well as eating in rubber, I hear it's not very good.
Yes,
I buy
plastic,
the gobe.
warming microwave in rubber. It's better for you to warm your food in a proper plate than in plastic. You don't want to warm anything in the microwave in plastic.
Not even a microwavable bowl.
I will not. I like to warm in a plate, proper plate. Proper plate. Just make sure there's no gold around it, because that's going to create a problem with the microwave.
No gold around
like
it.
gold or silver. You know how they do
the
designs?
over there, so plain white.
A plain white plate or a bowl.
Were you put on a specific diet when you were recovering?
Yes. No. The doctor didn't put me on any diet. Doctors are not dietitians. But I made a conscious effort when I started my recovery journey to become a vegan, to clean my body out.
Right.
So after going through chemo, I wanted to make sure that my everything was clean, because my nails went black, my hair fell out, there were sores in my mouth. I just didn't look healthy. So I wanted to be sure that I'd started that journey. So I did, and I went through almost maybe a little bit over a year of being a vegan and cleaning my body out. And I slowly introduced organic meat. I slowly introduced fish. I slowly introduced everything again.
Okay, so not to say that you stayed vegan.
No, I didn't. No,
But
I love goat's meat too much.
I like the male one. The one
Charlie.
to me enjoy, but of course, everything in moderation.
In moderation,
But
yes.
would you say that the vegans, so those who go totally off meat and meat animal products, stand a better chance of not attracting breast cancer to their lives?
I think that not only breast cancer, all kinds of diseases, but the good thing is that whatever you're going to be, make sure that there's a balance there, because you do need your proteins, you do need a balance of everything. So you don't want maybe 5 years into being a vegan, then your doctor tells you now you have to eat meat because your body is lacking of iron. So finding a balance is the key with everything you do. And when you eat and you fall asleep immediately, your body is telling you what you just ate is very bad for you.
Oh, say that again. Because we eat fufu and then after Sunday fufu straight, we dive into bed like that. So what are we saying?
Think about the process of that, right? So
Yes.
you just ate. In order for your body to digest and process that food you just ate, it needs to shut you down, because it cannot do both. It's too much. You've given your body way too much to work for. Now, food is supposed to be like fuel is to a car. It's supposed to fuel you, give you energy, so that you can do everything. So when we eat our food and it knocks us out, that's not so good.
Oh my God. Mr. Mills Lutrot, she
Yes.
actually became a vegan for 1 year. And we're in a house where perhaps every Sunday we do our fufu banku.
Standard.
And standard, I was right. A round of applause for standard, I tell you. Yes. I'm asking all these questions because in as much as I'm being humorous about stuff, trying to help myself not to be too emotional here, I'm seeing that the family system plays a role in alleviating not even just breast cancer and stuff, but
Right.
I've come from work, God forbid, not me, but I've come from work, I've lost my job. There's a role that the family plays. Is that right? Okay, so back to the food. How did you cope with no Sunday fufu and all of that?
Oh, she didn't stop making it.
But she was not eating, and that
No.
adds to the flavor when she's eating.
I think one thing you have to remember, there are times where we would take turns cooking. There are certain things that she would like me to make for her. Okay, yeah, we'll make the cucumbers and spinach sandwich and all of that, salads and so forth. And she would make our regular food, and we didn't miss a beat.
Wow.
The support system was there. We didn't miss a beat.
Support system. Support system.
And you also need to remember that as you're going through this, you shouldn't lose sight of staying active. She mentioned eating and then going straight to sleep. Go take a 10-minute walk after you eat. Go take a 20-minute walk
And
after you eat.
you did a lot of that.
No, I absolutely.
You were
By
very
the time I was done with chemo, I was almost 300 pounds.
Yeah, because of all the drugs and so forth. So you have to make sure, you have to be cognizant of the fact that, look, this is not how you want to be, so diet change, behavioral change, mindset, it all does matter. The scientists and doctors can't pinpoint exactly what gives you cancer. Environmental, diet, genetics, all mixed together. But at least whatever you can take control of, do that. Do that.
And so, talking about what you can take control of, I know that you've said severally that you had a history, your family had a history of breast cancer. Specifically, was it your mother?
No,
It wasn't
the first to be diagnosed.
You were
in
the
my family.
first?
Yes, there was no history. There was no genetic history at all.
Where did it come from? Did that question?
When I was tested for that, they said environmental, and environmental could be stress. It could be what you're eating, what you're breathing, what you're drinking, lifestyle. Those were the
Auntie Juliet, that people would actually take solace in the fact that, oh, there's no breast cancer in my family. My great-great-grand, they didn't have that. Pressure. So now you're talking about yours being identified or you being diagnosed with it per external factors. And that is very, very scary. And I want to believe that when you go and do your campaigns, these are some of the things you talk about.
Absolutely. I talk about it to the core because I think women, especially in West Africa as a whole, should understand that there is a particular type of breast cancer that is showing up more and more, the triple negative breast cancer. Which is 3 tumors in one nodule. And it requires 3 different types of chemo to cure it.
Wow.
And it's aggressive. It is, you can probably have a doctor come in and explain it further. But it is an aggressive type. We're seeing it in younger and younger and younger people, and it's taking our lives very quickly. So we need to early detection. We cannot drum early detection enough into women. Learning how to self-examine, go to YouTube. All of us have phones. Go to YouTube, read up on how to properly self-examine. It's usually 1 week after your period if you get your period. If you don't get your period anytime. And I examine my husband's breast all the time.
Okay.
Because I know that men do get breast cancer as well.
Absolutely.
Beyonce's father is one of the posters for breast cancer in the US right now. And it is important for us to make sure that as these men come and enjoy the breast and fondle with it and check whatever, which, some of my women who have been diagnosed, their husbands found their tumors.
Tell me about it.
So it is, my sisters, let the husbands play, but let them learn how to play properly so
that means there is a way
doing.
to examine. Unfortunately, this is not television. Otherwise, we would have used a table or something to demonstrate.
I would have demonstrated on myself.
Okay.
But again, like I said, go to YouTube. If you guys can pull it and put it up for them to have on your page, that's excellent. The self-examination is key. Learn to do it, and your husband learn to do it, or your significant other learn to do it, so that you both can do it on yourselves. And believe me, you could save your lives.
You did mention that, so with yours, you hadn't detected anything. I want to believe you were doing all of that. So there's another creepy type where you wouldn't.
There's even a type that there's no lump at all. Nothing shows at all.
What is that one?
So you may see discoloration on your breast. You may see your nipples going in invertedly. You may see one extremely bigger than the other. You may see an orange-like look on the breast. All those things are signs that you have to go to the doctor. Remember, only a doctor can confirm if you have breast cancer or not. You cannot see any of these signs and conclude you have breast cancer. You need to be properly tested so that the process can begin. But you need to have your doctor check it. Early stages of breast cancer, sometimes there's no signs.
No signs.
It's just a little lump in your breast. You don't feel, it's not painful. It's nothing.
So it's not, because it's not painful, we think, it's just normal.
It's nothing, yeah.
Some of the symptoms I have read about are similar to, when a woman is having a period or about to, and all of that. So it means that you don't sit and say, this is because of this. When you feel this, just go and have it checked.
Go and have it checked and be clear of it. That way you know for sure that you are okay.
How often should a woman have it checked?
Self-examination once a month, 1 week after your period, mandatory. For the men, they can do once every other month. It's fine.
DJ Pitwit.
For the women who do not get their periods, they can do it any time of the month. Pick a day and do it. But for screenings, you should do once a year. I would say anybody 20 and up should get a screening once a year, just to be clear, because sometimes we live in a culture where we don't pass on our health history to our families. We give our family properties, but we don't give them the one property that is the most important, your health history. So it is vital that we share that health history with our families so that we know what to look for. If you know there is high blood pressure in your family, you will avoid to eat certain foods so that you keep your pressure at a moderate rate. So please, let's not be afraid to share our history as well.
I think here it's a matter of the culture. How can you say ebusuanwe say wom? Ebusuanwe, there's this breast cancer.
We're killing ourselves.
Yes.
Is what we're doing out of you know, emusuo. And then would you rather not have your sister here, your brother here, your auntie here? No. I want them to know.
There is something that kind of sometimes works on the mind, okay? Don't you think that sometimes if you tell your children that your auntie had breast cancer, so be careful because it probably runs in the family and all of that. I've heard people misdiagnosed with HIV/AIDS, so they thought they had HIV/AIDS. They were going through, they were misdiagnosed.
Right.
And they started to grow lean. They started to feel so sick, immune system shutting down, until they were now re-diagnosed and told, sorry, this was a mistake. Then they started coming back. So having in mind that your mother had breast cancer, can't it have an effect on you?
I think that you can look at it two ways. Let me give you an example. If you're walking down a path and you see a snake, would you turn around or you would go and possibility the snake could bite you?
I would collapse.
Beautiful. So you would want to run as far as you can. But you know the snake is there. So knowing the snake is there, what does that do? It gives you knowledge and it allows you to make a decision whether you want to go forward or to turn around. So
this woman is filled with more. I'm in the studio with Mrs. Juliet Mills Lutrot. She is, and we are going to be talking about her foundation. She's the president of Pink for Africa, creating awareness like her life depends on it against breast cancer. And she is actually a survivor. You've heard her story and they are filled with chills. And she came with her lovely supportive husband, Mr. Mills Lutrot, who has been so supportive and has also been sharing some of the ways that he supported not just the wife but also the children, to try to incorporate the culture of we are in it together. Okay, and that I believe was one of the magic ones that actually did the whole show. Pink for Africa, over the years you've been coming all the way from Yankee to Ghana. Is it only Ghana you come to?
Ghana has been so big and so demanding. I haven't been able to leave Ghana yet.
Yeah, we need you here.
But I'm looking forward to spreading my wings a little bit.
What do you do?
So initially we started with education, just trying to create as much awareness as possible. We went into the schools. We talked, my approach in the schools is a little different because I'm dealing with young girls who I always tell them, I hope nobody in this room will ever have breast cancer, but I need you to learn how to check your breast. And, through that, we're able to impact some really good knowledge. They ask amazing questions. We jump into the churches, we jump into companies, we talk to women's organizations, women's groups. And the following few years when we came back, women were saying, listen, I got diagnosed, I cannot afford my treatment. What can you do to help me? So I realized, you know what? Since we're doing a fundraiser to support education, let's push a little more. So each year when I come home, I buy art from the local artist. And I've become one of the biggest art auctions in my event to raise money, auction the art, and we raise enough money to come. And we have really, in the last 14 years, have done very well. We've donated a little over $300,000 so far. Wow. And we've donated a little over 500 prosthetics to women across Ghana.
And I want to believe that where you are in the U.S. is very supportive of your agenda. Is that right?
Yes. So majority of the people who come to my events, of course, are Ghanaians. I want to lean on them. But I've been supported by everybody. Everybody. And women come all over, men come, and we always have fun. It's an elegant event. We get dressed, and I try to dip in everybody's pocket.
Which I believe that you will do so well. But it's for a very good cause, and there's not a single time you appear to be bothering people.
No, because our world has become so small. You always know somebody who's been diagnosed. If it's not close, it's close enough. So people know that this is a disease that women are struggling. And when you look across Africa, especially Ghana, I'm going to use Ghana. BBC did a beautiful report on Ghanaian women being the number one entrepreneurs in the world. And that was amazing to me. Growing up, I saw my grandmother work. I saw my mother work. I saw my aunties work. I remember my girlfriend Cynthia's mother, and Auntie Maggie. Auntie Maggie was a Makola woman. She was a force to reckon with. And these are all the women who stood tall for me, who set the examples for me to follow. So, these are women whose lives touch not just their children, but everybody in the community. So you want to save women's lives as much as you can, not to disregard men, but you want to save as many women as you can. For goodness sake, we bring human beings into the world.
I mean, right?
Really.
Let's blow that horn. I want to make some noise for the women. All right. Auntie Juliet, well, so all that you're doing, you have support from the US of A. I want to come back to my country.
Sure.
What are the support systems you get and what don't you get when it comes to Breast Cancer Awareness Month?
So the government is trying. They have, through your health system, your insurance system, there is a support. It's just not enough. So what we do is, as a small nonprofit, we liaison with the oncology departments or the breast centers, and we're able to meet the women who have been supported to a point, carry them further. Some people can carry themselves to a point, then the government steps in and does some, and then whatever is left, we help. So as much as we can, we try to be the bigger hospitals, Kolebu, we give the most to, because we are there sometimes on a monthly basis based on who comes up and who needs help. And some people reach out to me directly through social media, and they're like, my mother is sick, my aunt is sick. And I then connect them to Kolebu or encourage them to go, because people think we can give them money. We don't do that. We are a very accountable nonprofit.
Exactly.
So we need to pay directly to the hospital for you to be treated.
And you follow up to make sure that...
Yes, we make sure that they're getting their chemos. There is a psychologist in Kolebu who also helps them go through whatever their journey is. If they need diet help, whatever they need, there are, it may not be as much as the Western world, but we are trying, and our doctors are trying. We just need to remind everybody that we also need you to be proactive. Stay off the herbalist. No herbalist is going to cure your cancer. I beg you.
I was coming to that.
Stay off the herbalist. Go to the doctors. If you play around with these tumors and they get too far gone, you will die.
Okay, I want you to, as if I've not heard it, can you repeat it? Because these days we have Edruwe, Nasawe. So if they say that this drug or this concoction kills cancer cells, you're saying it doesn't make any sense?
I'm telling you that I haven't seen one person who has survived from the herbal medicines that's out there. They will take your money. Majority of our women show up early. Some of them show up early. When they find the tumor and they tell them this is the procedure, what we need to do, they leave to go to their villages. They jump on these herbal medicines. By the time they come back, it's too late.
Why do you think they do that?
And then when the surgery is done at that point, or any form of treatment is done and they die, then it looks like Oko Hospital and our
yes. Now,
is because we're trained.
Why do they do that?
I
Have
think
you spoken to any of them?
Financial could be part of it. It could also be the fear and the stigmas that follow all of the fear we have put into cancer. You have some pastors talking about is the devil's disease. How is it the devil's disease? How?
Which one?
Tell
Which
me
other?
how, you know, if it's a devil's disease, think about it. If you're a woman and you've been diagnosed with cancer, and the pastor you trust and believe in tells you is the devil's disease, will you even tell the pastor you have this disease?
No.
Because the devil is upon you. Something in also. Obroni oti America, abonsa ordinance sato no so. I mean, everybody gets breast cancer. Breast cancer is not prejudice. If you're blue, white, green, purple hair, beautiful, fat, skinny, tall, big breast, little breast, it loves everybody. So it's important for us to understand, say, this is not what it is. Early detection is why I am standing here 16 years talking to you.
That is it.
Solely early detection.
And there's this issue of the orthodox medicines also perhaps giving some side effects. Did you have any of those?
Side effects comes with every medication. My biggest thing is that, listen, you want to do a BB to clean your system. Go to the doctor, let them finish you, get that tumor out of your body, then come and play around with the BB. If it's giving you iron, it could be, I believe that they have different concoctions that may be good for the body, but it doesn't cure cancer. It just does not. So if you want to add a BB after you are done with your treatment, talk to your doctor, agree on something, and do you. But please do not play with it. You will be buried.
I'm imagining you during one of your education sessions being secretly antagonized in a particular area where they believe in a BB and you trying to tell them. Have you encountered anything like that?
Not to that extent, but I've had women literally come up to me and say, you know, I remember meeting a woman whose breast had opened up in Keta, and she was in her 40s.
And that was it was breast cancer?
Oh, it was solely breast cancer. The tumor had busted and opened up.
Jesus.
This woman is in her 40s. She has 4 daughters.
Right.
Okay? All the girls need to be checked. And she was playing with a BB. She had found the tumor very early. Had she listened to her doctor earlier, they would have taken the breast off, or they would have done a lumpectomy, treated her, put her through chemo, whatever. And at the end of the day, they will go and borrow money and come and bury you. So why not use that money to take care of yourself, is what I don't understand. Because we seem to really put funerals on such a pedestal after the person is dead, and we don't do for the person when they're alive and they need the support. What are we doing? What are we doing, Ghanaians?
Wow. I'm going to ask you which perhaps stakeholder interventions you would want heightened when it comes to the campaigns you do, and then I'll let Mr. Mills Luttrell also perhaps talk to young ladies and men. What should be the focus when we are looking at a woman's body? We'll talk about that again, because you see, she is saying that if that woman who had the breast ruptured had gone to have it off, well, maybe she's also thinking, how can I remove? We'll talk about that one, but support systems, intervention, stakeholder in Ghana.
Early detection, early detection, early detection is the biggest platform to promote. And early detection being that there is action behind early detection. Don't just detect early and do nothing about it. So putting action behind early detection is key. It's paramount to Africa.
Our health systems in Ghana and in Africa. I know I'm going to put you in a situation where, but just briefly, how would you describe our health system as far as breast cancer care and everything is concerned? Because elsewhere you had all the treatments here and there and it was okay, and is it the same here?
It's not the same, but they're trying. Every year I go to the hospital. This year in Korle Bu, when I went to do a donation, a woman we helped 7 years ago came and said, Auntie Jules, what to say? Oh, so happy to see you. And I was so happy to see her, that this is a woman we had helped financially, and she had made it through, and she was here. She had taken the breast off, she survived, and she's here. A few years ago, I was in Kumasi. I met a woman called Mampokwa. Mampokwa was 89 years old. Her breast had been removed at 38 years old, and she survived till she was 89 when I met her.
Hallelujah.
So I'm telling you, there are survival cases right here in Ghana. We just need to be proactive. We just need to check, and early detection is key. Think about it. All our doctors want to hit their chest and say they also saved your life.
Of course.
And add to the list of people that, Charlie,
This
this year, Charlie, all my cancer patients, Charlie, I saved them.
Wow.
So if that is the case, and they also want to take pride in saving your life, work with them. Come early. Let us see this disease. Let us find a way to get it out of your body, and let's start the journey. Juliet's Pink for Africa will bring you a prosthetic, and you will come back on the road. You may not get what I got, because my process requires money. It's a cosmetic thing to do.
That's right.
So the women with the prosthesis is even healthier, if you ask me, because I had to keep doing surgery. Anytime you do surgery, it's not good for you to do that. So I'm thinking within the next 10 years, when I go back to remove it, I will not put it back again.
I was coming to that.
I
want
will
to
take it all off.
Yeah. I want to ask you, because I wanted to ask you. So a woman who takes it off without the prosthetics and all of
has
that
a better chance of survival, because you're not prone to getting surgeries anymore. Think about it.
That means also that all the women we are donating those to will have to come back to the hospital.
No. The women we are donating the prosthesis to, they don't come back. It just drops into your bra. It's for
actually
prosthetic.
Okay.
No.
But there's no
it's not
reconstruction.
No. There's no reconstruction. It feels just like breast.
Wow.
Yeah, it
so
feels just
that's
like
against
breast.
the reconstruction. It is the reconstructive surgery
that has a possibility of it rupturing. It has a possibility. You have to go and replace it every 10 years. Anything can happen. You can be wearing it. You don't even know how it broke. It busted inside. Then you have to go. They cut you open and take it out, clean it up, make sure it didn't leak anywhere, and then put it back in. So if you've done a mastectomy and you did not do reconstructive surgery, you get a prosthetics. A lot of Americans do prosthetics.
Yeah,
they don't do, yes.
So one who has done the reconstructive surgery, are there things she shouldn't do?
It's difficult to tell. Because I asked my doctor when I had the rupture, I said, is there anything I could have done? She said, Jules, it could be anything. It could be anything. I remember
my question is a bit some way, but it's all part of the education.
Absolutely.
So somebody will agree to go have her breast checked. She's diagnosed with breast cancer. She's agreeing to go through orthodox medicine to get it, and then with the hopes that she's got the money, she can do the reconstructive surgery and still be in the industry she's in. Maybe she's an actress or an actor, whatever. Are there man, woman playing touch and all of that? That shouldn't happen, ain't it?
No. I mean, you can, the prosthetic breast can be touched. When your entire breast is removed, like I did and went through reconstruction, there's no feeling in the breast anymore. There is no feeling. It's just skin. So your nipple is what brings you feeling, is what gives you that feeling. So once the breast is removed, the nipple is removed, everything is gone. So they are stretching the skin to put the implant underneath to shape it like your breast. And they create a tattoo for your nipple area, and then they do a little surgery with pinching of the skin and raising it to give you, to be as close as possible. Yes. Wow. But definitely there is no feeling there, and most of it is numb.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. And I'm going to come to you, because sometimes Pink October, the focus of how we celebrate has shifted to no bra. You will talk about that, but sir, Mr. Mills Lutrot, what is our focus, young ladies, gentlemen, in terms of what the woman looks like?
When you say what they look like,
I'm thinking, okay, a woman has a problem, going to have the breast checked, breast cancer and all of that, because at the end of the day, the crack says she's thinking about the man. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Just very briefly.
Of course. I think everyone has a type. Most guys have a type. They know what they're looking for in women, both physically and everything else. And in today's world, the youth have so much information at their fingertips. If you have listened to all of this and you still believe, I'm not going to bother checking because the guy I likes boobs, and I'm not going to check in case they get it
Before.
removed.
Aleno.
Aleno, you know,
Yeah.
Abaji. No, you know, I think your health trumps everything else. You know, for lack of a better cliche, it's the youth have so much information at their fingertips. You know, with all this going on, she just mentioned YouTube. You know, I check some social media posts. You know, I noticed there's a Reddit page for Ghana.
That's right.
You know, and you know, people carry on. There's TikTok videos on every single topic you can think of. So, with the youth and what they have to deal with, they should spend a little time just educating themselves because it's all there. You know, all this fluff of the latest bag and the latest car and the latest shirt. All right, what's the new word about the latest treatments? How long will it take for you to get that?
Search on something, yeah.
Yeah, just search quickly. It's not gonna break you. It might save your life.
Thank you. Finally, finally, because we have just a minute to go. But Auntie Juliet, so what is our focus for October? Is it No Bra Day? Hey, she didn't wear a bra today to work.
Well,
and all that.
No Bra Day is October 13th. It's just that day. And it's done. And it's just creating awareness. Men get excited about women no bras.
Some
and
people,
stuff like
just
that.
so you know, carry it throughout the month.
Okay, so, but No Bra Day is October 13th across the US. That's something that we do. But the focus for us Africans is that early detection is key. And our goal in promoting early detection and self-examination and being aware, as a woman, know your body. As a man, know your body. And know how to properly check and know that your life is worth so much more than your breast.
Hey, Edu,
Edio,
thank you so much.
you're welcome.
So I've been speaking with Mrs. Juliet Mills Lutrot. She's the president of Pink for Africa and also an amazing and a very, very strong and robust breast cancer survivor. And she's been sharing her story as well as we looking at the creating a robust support system for breast cancer awareness, which she's been doing so well and calling on all stakeholders to also join hands. And she was accompanied by a very supportive man on the surface of this earth. Mr. Mills Lutrot happens to be the husband who has also shared his support that he gave when she was going through all of that, and even still given because he's here in Ghana with her. We just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you. We're running an amazing campaign. Donate $10 and tell 10 people. So go to pinkforafrica.org. There is a Momo number. I can send that to you. But please, if you want to be part of this and be part of the campaign we're doing, donate 10 CDs
Absolutely.
and tell 10 people
10
to do
CDs.
so.
Okay,
Yes.
I thought I had $10.
10 CDs.
I was calculating.
The US is $5 and tell 5 people. Ghana is 10 CDs and tell 10 people
This
to donate.
is amazing. All I can say is, may God bless you. Now we know this is why you live. You live to save situations, an embodiment of the salvation that we need around this whole breast cancer narrative.
Absolutely.
I pray that God strengthens you and
Thank
helps you to do the work better. And God bless you too, sir.
Thank
you so much for coming. And
Thank
so
you.
this has been The Brighter Side on Z101.9 FM with me, NYA The Brand, having great discourse with two amazing people. Let's connect tomorrow again. Thank you so much for spending your afternoon with me. Catch up tomorrow. I'm NYA The Brand.